Welcome back. So first of all, I want to excuse the noise in the background. My father-in-law is on a table saw in the workshop next door. In this video I want to talk about the tools that we use. These are the most basic ones. Let's dive right in with so this is a bowl gouge. Try to focus it. So this is the bowl gouge. You see this in a Q&A section as well. This is my most used one. It's a crown one. I haven't tried yet the new KS bowl gouge, but that will be quite soon. This is 1/2 inch diameter or 12 mil here, and it's elliptical or parabolic flute shape. Which is my preferred one, because as you can see here at the top of the wing, you can easily put a crown wing, where on V gouges it's much more difficult to maneuver it because it has straight sides, and straight and curve doesn't meet all that well. So this is the smaller one, this is the bigger one. So this is 16 mil diameter tool, and this is asymmetric grind from my mentor Richard Raffen. So short right wing, excellent for hollowing, and longer left wing for shaping the outside and shear scraping, and quite versatile tool. This is from Henry Taylor brand. I put my own handle obviously, and I have it for quite a while now, and it's excellent tool, excellent quality, and I have something to compare it, the KS new gouge and some of the new ones which are coming, which are on the way actually, so that should be a fun video as well. Now you usually need some sort of a spindle gouge. This is a shallower one. I believe this is crown as well. Now many beginners have a difficult time to see the difference between the bowl gouge and the spindle gouge, and you can tell the spindle gouge it has a shallower flute usually, and that flute also mimics the bottom curve, the radius. It's a perfect radius, where on the deep fluted gouges, which are bowl gouges, you can see first of all it's deep flute, but also it's uneven, so it's parabolic, it's ellipse, versus here it's perfect circle. So on this one I have it somewhere around 35-40 degrees bevel, and I use it mostly for detail work, and yeah, obviously on the spindle work as well, but sometimes I need to lengthen the bevel or shorten it, depends on what I'm doing. So the next one is also spindle gouge. Now this is continental style. Now you can see quite a big difference. First of all, this one has a tang here, and it's from a much shallower and much thinner stock. This is Two Cherry brand. I don't think this is high-speed steel. I think it's carbon steel, but nevertheless it does the job quite well, and it's really cheap. Now these four, with this one as well, these three and this one, can be used on spindle work as well as on bowls. And primarily this one I like to use for rough turning the cylinder on spindles. So I have a nice shallow curve here. The bevel is around 45-40 degrees, something like that. I don't measure it, just go by eye, and and if it feels good, then it is good, and I like that kind of approach. Now, I don't possess a spindle roughing gouge. That gouge is a U shape, and it has the sides here, the wings, much taller. So it's a U shape, U gouge with really tall sides. That tool is primarily used for spindle roughing cuts, taking it to round, and I can do it with this one, and several other jobs I can do with this tool as well. Versus the spindle roughing gouge is only done for that particular job, and I can't justify the I can't justify the price of it to have it for just one job. So I would recommend maybe go with something cheaper like this, and it's great for roughing out spindles, and you can use it as a spindle gouge. What I was using when I started out 17 years ago, when my older master showed me how to use it. So these four can be used on bows and the spindles. Now we come to the scrapers. Now I have 4 different scrapers here. Now you don't have to have it 4. What it's nice about having multiple scrapers is, for instance, this one, I can use it on the bottom of the bowls, especially if they are smaller in diameter, and this is asymmetric curve, as you can see here. It's sharpened a little bit different because sharpened by freehand, not on the platform. The angle on the tip is around 45-50 degrees, something like that, and it changes around the curve here. Here it's almost like 10 degrees, just only barely an angle. So it's much more user friendly. It doesn't catch on the side here, and I quite like it. And especially I used I shaped the curve for the particular job. For instance, the brandy cups that I did, I usually modify slightly and put the little bit more curve here and lengthen this one, so it changes. So this one is from high-speed steel bar. It's homemade one, as my shear scraper that I did a video on, and this one is 10 mil on this side and 6 mil on this side, so it's not even thickness. And like I said, it's a great tool to have in your arsenal, and you can use it on the bows, or let's say hollowing end grain, shaping the end grain inside the boxes or stuff like that. Now the smaller, similar shape, asymmetric curve as well. You can see it here. Now this was as from the factory, this cutout. I'm not sure why would you use that. It's much better if it was all the way around. All the length was the same. This is like 1 inch almost wide. So this is a smaller version of that bigger scraper for smaller work. Now this is the shear scraper I made on video. So it's high-speed steel bar, and this one is thinner. This side is almost 7 mil, and this almost 4. And it has, I can use it on the bottom of the bowls if the bowl is wider, bigger diameter. So this curve would fit nicely, or use it on a plate, splatters, stuff like that. And I have this rounded edge removed here. Try to get it a little bit better. So I have this rounded edge removed, maybe see the reflection here, and that way you have this nice sharp corner here to make detail work or to shear scrape to some detail like bottom of the bead or stuff like that. So again, excellent tool to have. And another one which is quite useful is what my mentor calls square end, and he also states that it's not square end, and mine is not as well, so it's slightly tilted to the right, and it's great for basically it does like every other scraper does, but the shape of it obviously can be on very shallow curves like on plates, platters. You can hollow the end grain really fast with this, side grain as well, you can hollow it quite fast with this, and I use it for some detail work as well, so excellent tool to have again in the arsenal. And the bevel is, so it's sort of double bevel, try to get it focused a bit better, but the primary bevel up at the top, now this one has been honed once, so you can see the third bevel, tiny one at the tip, which brings the burr at the top here, which does all the scraping, and this is around 45 degrees, 50, something like that as well. Now we come to the tool that most beginners are afraid to use, and I'll show you in the spindle work section chapter how to use it safely, and if you have a catch, what is the worst thing that can happen. And it's actually not that scary tool, and the catches you have with this are tiny in compare, let's say, with the ball gouges, if you have a catch on the ball with them, or scrapers on a thinner balls. So this is again 2 Cherry brand, 16 mil wide skew, my most used one. I have a smaller one, but would like to get a bigger one as well. My angle is roughly, so the combined angle is around 30 degrees, something like that. Like I said, I don't measure it, I change it on the fly. Let's say on, for example, if I working on those Madero cups, vacuum cups for a massage, I had it maybe around 35-40 degrees, something like that. And for the pine eggs that I did recently, I changed it to more acute angle, so it does slice the pine much easier, much better, cleaner. So you change it on the fly as you need to, but now this can be used on hardwoods as well. It's sort of a nice medium size. And finally, this is the best tool in the arsenal. It's old. My father-in-law passed on this from to me. Now these are carbon steel tools, very bad in compared to today's standard. They're flimsy, thin, handles are bad. But how often do you part something off? Now, at least in my work, I either prepare it small blanks or on the bandsaw, let's say, or stuff like that. I usually prepare it and not so much part it off on the lathe. So this one does the job until it's worn out, and then I'll buy a better version, more professional, let's say like that, version of the parting tool. Like I said, this one does the job. It just needs to part off the section, let's say, for a lid on a spindle work on a box, so I don't do anything else with it. I don't do mortise or recess for the chuck with this, so I don't have any other need for it. So just that job, and it does okay, that only one job. So like I said, you don't have to have all of these. When I started turning bowls, I only had a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. It was a record powered one with the 1/2-inch gouge, as I'll show you in the series. You can do pretty much everything with it, up to a point obviously with larger bowls. Again, scrapers, you can get by with just, let's say, this one, and change the shape if you need to. You can always buy more tools as you go along, as your skill progress, and you'll be much more like knowing what do you need and what you don't need. Like I would always advise to buy separate tools instead of like a package, like I don't know, set for spindle work, set for bolt turning and stuff like that, because usually it always comes with one tool that you don't need. Hopefully that is a little bit more clear on what we're going to use, and next chapter will be on chucks, and then we'll go on to sharpening as well. The point I would be making is you don't have to buy the premium brands to get you started. Now, I would advise you to buy it maybe from a woodturning shop, like store, which can grind the first time, put the grind on your, let's say, gouges or other tools as well, and that way you'll know how the tool is performing, how it's sharp, and then you have some threshold you always want to be at. Versus when you buy like from manufacturer, if you buy tools, as they usually did come with very blunt end, or just some weird grind, and it's not useful, it's not great by any means. So I would advise you to buy it from woodturning stores. Like I said, most of them sharpen for you, and that way at least you'll have something to look up for, and you'll know how the tool should be behaving. Okay, so let's see you in the next chapter, which will be on chucks. I have affiliate system with them, and there will be links down below to the tools that I use, and machine that I use, chucks that I use, stuff like that, that you see in the video. And if you're on the lookout for a new tool, please go click the link down below. If you buy it from that link, then I'll get a tiny percentage. So every little helps to, you know, keep us rolling, I guess. And like I said, nothing of this would be possible without all of your support as viewers, as a lot of your feedback on what do you want to watch, and stuff like that. So thank you once again for everything. So see you later.